2024. He joined Asharkia University, Oman in October 2024 as assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. He is a reviewer of several ISI index journals and published about 40 journal and conference articles. Talking a little about his research interests, which are swarm intelligence-based optimization methods for microgrid controls, machine learning-based classification and prediction methods, and application of artificial intelligence and evolutionary algorithms in different control schemes. So we have learned how our speaker has made his career growth in this field. Let's hear from him how his experience have mattered so much and how he can share his experiences and skills with us. So, Dr. Touqeer, I would like to hand over the slides to you so that you can continue with the rest of the workshop.
Thank you very much. Hope I'm audible now.
Yes, doctor, you are audible.
Thank you very much. Let me fix again. I'm facing the same problem, so I hope I would be, making it work. Okay, so I'm unable to, share my slides. Just be with me so that I can start with directly with the, Google Collab. Just give me 2 seconds, please.
Doctor, you can also send your slides to us. We can also share it for you if you want us to share.
Okay, let me.
Maybe you can send it to Dr. Madni on WhatsApp, and then I'll share it for you.
Sure, that would be great. Just. Okay, I've shared with Dr. Madni.
Okay, doctor. So can you now please stop your screen so that I can share?
Okay, sure.
Can you see the slides, doctor?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for inviting me as a speaker to this important workshop. I'm grateful to Dr. Ahmed Madani for this opportunity. And again, this Python is not a language to be completed in 1.5 an hour, but for sure we can do the basics for this Python. It's just a kickstart. I mean, if you guys are, there are almost more than 100 participants, 297 exactly. So many of you might not have any experience before this on the Python. So I will be making it a very easy, or it will be like Python for beginners, or rather I would call it Python for absolute beginners. That simply means if you haven't done anything on the Python, you are on the right place. So we will work it out for some, stuff regarding the Python. Okay, can you change the slide? Okay, so these will be the contents for our workshop. We will be going through the Python and its importance. Why Python? Why not other languages? What's something important in the Python? And Python is one of the fastest growing language all over the world. And if you see the how many number of users a language has, so you would find Python in top three or might be number one at this time. So what's the reason? What's the reason it is being taught is the first language in universities? Why it is growing so fast? So there are a number of reasons. I can start with its simplicity. I mean, it's a very simple to code with the Python. If you haven't done anything with the Python, you can start with the Python. Okay, and then in the next slide we have some importance with the Python, and then we have around 15 items. We will go through the Python for the beginners and all that. So these are the number of reasons why we go for the Python. An example is given. Suppose you are going to have a program that sums up two numbers. So there on the left hand side you find Java, and on the right hand side you find Python. The same program, the program exactly do the same job. So you would find Python is much readable and easy to code. So its simplicity and readability makes it one of the most widely used programming language. Number second, it is versatile. Versatile in the sense that this language is capable of, doing a lot of tasks, including web development, data analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning. You go for the automation, you go for the scientific computation, and many more. So this is more versatile than a number of languages available in current time. Number third advantage is a large standard libraries. Python is very rich in libraries. You would find a number of modules and libraries in the Python for a number of tasks. We will discuss in the if you see the last point of our discussion, it's a Python library if we got the time. Number four, the reason why Python is important or why we should be go for the Python. It is its community support. Python is one of the largest communities in the world. If you're stuck in any problem, you just Google the problem, and there are a number of people who are going to help you in this because it's the one of the reasons it's open source, which is advantage number five. It does not cost you anything like the MATLAB, like other software. And then its ease of learning. You mean it's a script is quite simple, its syntax is quite simple. As example is given, the comparison is given between Java and Python for the same program. So you would find Python much easier compared to the other things. So finally, data science and machine learning. Today is the era of machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence. So you would find Python at number one in terms of libraries, in terms of simplicity, in terms of plotting, in terms of data analytics. So Python is at the top right now. And finally, popular web frames. So Python contains a popular web, you can have some sort of web development applications and machine learning applications in the Python. Okay, these are the number of libraries which are available in the Python. We will go at the last because this is point number 15. At the last, we will come why these libraries are important in terms of having the machine learning in Python rather than any other language. So please, thank you very much. I can now use my laptop for going through these all topics. We will start from the very simple, and then we will go at a much larger scale. Just give me some time, please. Okay, let me share my screen.
हाँ, उसमें आने शुरू हो गए हैं। अभी मैंने चेक नहीं किया, मैंने रिकॉर्डिंग लगाई भी स्क्रीन की।
Okay, can you see the screen right now? My screen is visible.
It
Yes,
is
doctor.
loading, doctor.
Okay, okay, just wait a minute. Okay, well, meanwhile, let me tell you something that Python, there are two options to, avail Python. Number one, you may have the Python editor by downloading it from the python.org. It's completely free. You can download it, the latest version, and then you can use any code editor. There are a number of code editors like the Atom, like you got Jupyter, and a number of such available options are there. But generally, if you don't have any such option, so you can directly use Google Collaboratory. Google gives you the option to code online using it. It gives you a code editor. So in this particular webinar, we are going to use Google Collaboratory to go for this to learning this Python. So and is the screen visible now?
Yes, doctor. It's clearly visible.
Okay, can you see the Google Collaboratory in on the screen? I mean, if I'm typing Google, are you seeing that
Yes,
on
yes,
the
doctor.
screen?
Yes, doctor. Yes,
Yes,
doctor.
doctor. Yes.
It's a Google. Okay. Simply, what you need to do, you need to type Google Collab. Simple. We are going to use this Google Colab. If you don't have the, if you do not want the Google Colab, you may use Jupyter, one of the best notebooks. Okay. So, and because it gives you the chunk of codes that you can operate them individually. So here, if you see, this is the Google Colab. I just click it. Okay, then open Colab. Just you need to sign in with your Google account. If you have any Google account, Gmail account, you can sign it with using Google account. So what you need to do, there are already programs available. It gives you a lot of options. So what I need to do, I need to go through a new notebook. Okay. Yeah, here you see. It gives you the title. Anything you can give it the title here. So I can suppose give the unit number 1. Okay. In this, you can see here you can connect with your Google account. Connecting simply means you are wherever you are going to get this your program whatever you save here. So it's available online all the time. You got if you click here, you got how much it is around 12.7 GB RAM, and you would be getting 107.7 GB hard disk. I mean, where you can store your programs. And this is available online. Whenever you work at any time, you can go use your Google Colab and start working. This is simple, environment you can see here, Google Colab. So we are going to start the first program. Uh, Suppose I want to print something. I want to print a string. I would say print, and then I would simply say hello world. One of the simplest program. What you need to do, you need to just control and enter, or you just enter. Here what you see. It will type and it will give you the whatever you type inside this print statement. It will give you hello world. Okay, so this print is a built-in function in Python which prints whatever you provide at the small brackets. But you need to if this inverted comma, it is for the strings. There are 3 or 4 types of uh, you can use in the Python. One of them is a string. A string is basically the letters, and then you go for there are integers, just like I would say print, I would say 5, okay, and then I say control enter, so it will print 5 and hello world. You can also print, but here if you see, you do not give the inverted comma. If you give the inverted comma, it would be a string. This is called integer, okay. And then third data type you would come across a Python, and they are called floats. Suppose 5.5. So this is float. If I say means this all can be written in a print statement. Okay. So we can use variables. We can also use variables in the Python. Variables means you can use, suppose city is a variable, and then you store city name inside it. Suppose I would say Karachi. Okay. Keyboard always gives me string options. Okay. So this Karachi is basically a value that you are given, or the a string that is stored in the city variable. Now I can simply write print city. When you print city and then control enter, you get the Karachi, because city string city variable contains the Karachi. Now here city is a variable; it can be replaced anyway. Suppose if I say after the Karachi, if I write another name for the same city, is for the same variable. Suppose I would say this contains Lahore. Now the city would be replaced. What the answer you would get Lahore, because Python is start from the top and then it ends at the bottom. It will go line by line. It started with store Karachi in the city, then that same Lahore is stored in the same variable. So always Karachi would be replaced with the Lahore, because the city it will take the most recent variable, the assignment, whatever you have assigned to that particular variable. Similarly, you can write, the variable can contain an integer. Suppose I would say my favorite number. My favorite number is equal to 5. And then I would say this favorite number is becomes a variable and 5 is an integer. So what would I say? I can write, suppose print, and then my favorite number. Here it is. So it will write 5. Again, so how can you know that this favorite number 5 is an integer? So what you need to do, you simply write type of this my favorite number. What is the type of my favorite number? So it will give you integer. Int is for the integer. Okay. So if I write same number 5 in inverted commas, now what you see here, this 5 is no more an integer. This would become the string. 5 is tr. String is the letters or characters. Those variable that data type is called string in Python. And maybe you may have 5.5. Suppose, so this would be called is the float, the third variable. If you can see here, this is float. Okay, so a string, you may have a float, you may have data type as the integer. Okay. Similarly, what we can print more than one variable. Suppose if I say print, if I define something, suppose Suppose I say I'm defining a variable city with the same name Karachi. Fine. And then I may print the city as a string. Now city will not is not taken as a variable. Whenever you use this inverted commas, it's a string. Comma, and I'm using city as a variable. So what would happen if you see the city Karachi? Whenever you print, the city would be printed as it is city because it's a string. But this city second one is it's a variable, so it will take the value for the variable which is across a Karachi, okay, which is having the value Karachi. Simply, it would be if you play it, so it would say city Karachi. Or if you write, suppose my city name is, and then you write city. My city name is, and then you need a comma in between, and then you may write a city, so it would be, it will be printed, my city name is Karachi, whatever you write. So this is how it works. So it can occupy a number of variables. I mean, you can go a number of strings and number of variables. Suppose I may say, if you define any other variable, suppose I say number of universities in Karachi, number of universities is equal to 5. So I can write comma, and then I would say inverted comma, I would write the variable number of universities. And then I say comma is number of universities is a variable. Here it is. When you click it, so if you see here, my city is Karachi and number of universities is 5. Suppose here, if you write a similar way, so you can write it. You can write a number of variables, number of strings in a single thread statement, all will be printed in a single comma. So that's how it works. Okay, so this is very important. There are rules for creating a variable. You cannot name anything as a variable. Suppose you cannot create a variable with a space. It will not type. Suppose I say C and then I space, it will give you an error. Okay, because this variable is not accepted in Python. You cannot give a space in between the variables or between the string. Secondly, you cannot start with the variable name with a number. You cannot say full city. It will give you an error. Okay. Third rule, you cannot use certain names in variables, such as if, else, or def. So these all are dedicated, functions of the Python. You cannot use them for your name. It is fine. So let's move towards the second module. It was very simple, just to start with how to go with the Python. You go with just type Google Colab and enter into the Google Colab and then write the strings, variables, and you can write, floats, and you can use a print command so that you can print a number of variables and floats and integers. It's that simple. One more important thing, that it's quite important to use descriptive variable names. This is very important. Suppose I could have used city for C. C is equal to Karachi, but C does not make any sense. I could have used number of universities is number underscore of university. I wouldn't be understanding when I am, using my the same code after a month. I would say what I have written. So it's quite, the best practice is to use the variables name, descriptive variables name, so that after a certain time you read the same code, you have the understanding that what you have written. Or any other your friend or colleague or client, if he go through the same code, so he should be understanding what you have written at the start. Now Instead of, we can use, we can ask the user to give some input instead of writing a direct name Karachi or any other variable name. So we can ask the user that what you want to tell us. Suppose I would say name is equal to, we use input command is the variable. I mean, is the, uh, you know, to ask the user what exactly he wants, and then we print the name. When you run this program, so this Python would ask you what is the name. It will not execute the program until you provide some input here. Suppose I would say Touqeer, and then I enter, and then the second statement would execute. It will print the name. So this input command is basically used to, take the input from the user. Suppose if you say, if you give any argument here, so it would be like, I'm giving some string. It is enter. Sorry,
लानी पड़ेंगी, आती हूँ, मेहनत करनी
enter
पड़ेगी, अल्लाह क्यों नहीं देता?
name.
अल्लाह,
Just a second. Okay, enter your name. So this would ask you to enter your name, and then it will stop after a certain time. Suppose you enter. Okay, there is some error. Suppose you enter your name and put tick, because this should be inside. Yeah, okay, because you cannot have, this dotted line outside it, because a string is complete. The string is start with the this inverted commas, should end at the inverted comma. Okay. Now if you run, it will ask you to enter your name, and then I would write anything, and then in the second command it will get printed. Here it is. Enter your name, and I say print name. It can go with the print. You can print with the numbers. Suppose I would say, if I do numbers, I would say number one is equal to 5, and I would say number two is equal to 5.5. So here I have created two variables, number one and number two. Number one contains an integer 5, and number two contains a float 5.5. Do remember, floats and integers, they do not need inverted comma to be defined. You can directly write their numbers. So what I say, suppose print, if I want to type for the number one, I would say type, and then I use the same statement for the number one. Okay, and then I made print the type for the number two. So it will directly give me what is the type of this uh, particular number. So number one is integer, int, because without any dots, without any decimal point. If any number without a decimal point is called integer. A number with a decimal point is called float. So number one is integer type, number two is the float type. So you can know that what is the type of the particular this uh, alphabet or the variable. One more important thing, integer can be converted into the float, and the vice versa is possible as well. Okay, we can convert the number into integer number into a float, and float into integer. So simply how we do, suppose number one is an integer. So what we say, we always use, suppose we say a is equal to float and number one.
ऐसे कोई वो पक्की प्रोग्रामिंग कोई नहीं हो, मिक्स
Right?
3-4 लैंग्वेजेस का.
And then if you run it up, if I print the A, if I print the type for the A, type for A. What is A? So A is a float. If you see the third number, okay. If I if I remove these two, it will be easy to understand. Rather, this one number two. We are not concerned with the number two right now. So number one, it was you before that. Before it was suppose I'm printing here. If I'm printing number one, if I'm printing number one here, it would be like number one. It's in integer for this one. But what I've done, I have created a variable named a, and I have passed a float to to the number one. When you type the a, when you see what is the type of a, so it becomes float now. So same you can convert integer float from the integer as well. Suppose if you say b, number two is a float, you know that. So I can write integer, and then I would say number two would be converted from integer to from float to integer, and then type I need to print type uh, b. What is the type for the b? So it will tell you that it is now an integer, class integer. Right? These are interchangeable. I mean, float can be converted into the integer, integer can be converted into the float. Thirdly, even this integer and float, they can be converted from the string into the float. Suppose this, now if I'm putting some inverted comma, if I'm putting some inverted comma over here, this becomes a string. It's a string now, isn't it? So this string, if I can convert this string into the integer. I can convert this string into the float as well by using the same method. Okay, integer is simply it will not take the number. 5 is no more a number, it's a letter now, because whenever you use inverted comma, this 5 is treated as the number, I mean the letter. Okay, so whenever if I say suppose type, just for make it convenient, I may remove all this. Suppose if I say print the type for the number one, so it will tell you it's no more a float. Okay, no more integer, it is string now, str, because whenever you put it in inverted comma, it is an string. Okay, so this was the I would say the lecture, the unit number 2, where we need to know how to write an integer, how to write a float, how to write a string, and how to convert them from one to another. Thirdly, we know that how to take an input from the user and then utilize in the next code. Then we will proceed towards the comments. Comments are very important in Python. Comments are, they are basically hints that we can add to our program to make our code easier to understand. They are not executed by the, whenever you run the program, they are not executed at all. So suppose I would say this program is just to convert integer into float for sake of argument. So this, whatever you give in the hash sign, it will not be executed. It will never be executed. Or if I write it here, suppose for some reason, if I forget, I am writing for my memory purpose, I mean to memorize that, okay, this, what I've written right now, this is an integer. So this is simply for the user. I mean, it is, these comments are very important while writing a program, so that whenever you use this program again after some time, so you exactly know why you had written that particular statement. So those hash sign would help you to go through this complete lines. Fine, these are all comments. If you are using a window, for the Mac, it is CMD plus and /. So you would go for the Mac. And if you are using Windows, then you use Control plus and backslash for the this particular comments. Okay, comments can be multi-line comments. Okay, suppose how to write a multi-line comment, you use this three inverted commas. Suppose this is a multi-line comment, and then you close it up. This will not execute it at all. Okay, so if your code it contains a huge amount of interpretation, so if your program contains a huge amount of information, you may use a multi-line comment. But multi-line comment should not start with the hash, but they should start with the three inverted commas, single inverted commas, okay, single quotation marks. So this will be a simple multi-line comment. Okay. So why comments are important basically? These comments basically they enhance the readability of the program. You can easily read out what is that program is all about. You can give a number of comments, whatever number of comments you want. It will never be executed. Okay. Then coming towards the uh, Python operators. Okay, there are two types of operators. Number one, you may go through the arithmetic operator where you have plus, minus, multiplication, division, and remainder, and base division. And secondly, you have assignment operators. So these two types of comments are there. Even in this Google Colab, if you do not comment, there is option for the text. You can see here. In text, you can write anything. You can write anything. So this is a program is uh, you know written for the mathematical operators. Okay, so here if you have this one. So now this comment, Google Colab gives you the option to comment this program. So this will give you, this will never be executed. This is for your information only. So Google Colab has options. If you see here, code or text. Whenever you click the text, so it will only gives you the option to text, whatever you write over here. Okay. So if you want to code, you need to select this particular uh, cell. So this cell is for coding. Okay. Suppose. And second thing, Google Colab gives you the option to divide your all code into number of chunks. Suppose this is number one, number two, and you can individually execute them without affecting the other. It's quite possible in the Google Colab. So come towards our basic thing. We are going to have arithmetic operations. How to use arithmetic operations in the arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators, what are they? You have the plus, suppose you have minus, you got multiplication, you got division, and you got base division, and you got a remainder, percentage sign. So these all are basically operators, arithmetic operators. We can use these arithmetic operators in the Python. Suppose if I say x is equal to 5. By the way, equal to is also an operator. We call it assignment operator. Suppose if I say x is equal to 5, so we are assigning 5 to x being the variable. X is equal to 5. So if I say result is equal to x plus 10, and then I want to print this result, so this result would be, that will give me 15. 15 is the answer. So you can do this simple arithmetic addition. Okay, you can try all different things. Suppose if you want to have x divided by, suppose if I say x is equal to 5, and if you're using this double division, multiplication or division, suppose, so, and print the result, x multiplied by 10, it will give you 50. You can use double division as well. Double division means best division. 5 divided by suppose 2. So I will give you, because it will not give you 2.5. The percentage sign will give the remainder. It will give only the best division. Okay. So then if you do the 10, you got 0. Why? Because it will not give you 0.5. 0.5 is the remainder. It will only give you the quotient, and the remainder. If you want to calculate the remainder, then you need to use a percentage sign. This is percentage sign. So if you divide the x by 2, x being the 5, 5 divided by 2, the remainder would be 1. Isn't it? 2 times 2 is 4, and remaining only 1, so 1 would be printed. So this is how you use the arithmetic operations. You can even use strings for the same purpose. Okay. How to use a string? Suppose I say the string number 1, string, they are characters. Strings are basically characters. Suppose I say Touqeer, and if I say string number 2 is Ahmed. So, Ahmed. There's a property called uh, concatenation. Con, uh, concat, concatenation. I mean, it's always been, I always feel a problem in pronouncing this. Concatenation. So this property of the strings, they we can add them up. Suppose if I say print string 1 plus string, so what will happen? They will be joined together. It will be Touqeer Ahmed. If you want a space, okay, so it will be string 1 plus string 2. You can add them up. So this property is also there. You can add the strings as well, but not like you cannot add them like the numbers. Suppose 5 plus 5 gives you a number 10, but the strings, whenever you add the strings, they will be joined together. So key Ahmed or number of strings, you can add them up, and you get certain results. Secondly, you got assignment operator. So these are automatic operators. Second are the assignment operators. Assignment operators. Assignment operators are just like, you are using x is equal to 5 for sake of argument in the code. X is equal to 5. And then, by the way, this x is equal to 5 simply means uh, x, x stores a value 5. So equal, the sign equal is also an assignment operator. So if you use, suppose if I say x plus equal to 10, it will be, and then you print x, it will be 15. So this plus and equal sign is assignment operator. It's like you are adding, if I draw a comment, it would be like x is equal to x plus 10. Similarly, you say minus, so it would be like x minus 10. Similar. So it would be, the result will be minus 5. These assignment operators you can directly use without, because this x would equal to x minus 10 it gives us some effort. So you can directly like x minus is equal to 10. That would exactly equal to x is equal to x minus 10. So these are called the assignment operators. Then we got booleans. We have the booleans as well. Okay. So suppose I would say booleans, boolean operators. What are Boolean operators? They gives you the true or false. The true and false is a dedicated word in Python, a dedicated command in Python. Suppose true, T-R-U-E, that T should be capital and result true would equal to false. So okay. So if I say print result 1 and result 2, so this would give you the false because in true and false, so it becomes false. If I say or, so it would be because any of those two is true, so you would get it true. Then you have comparison operators. Comparison operators. After Boolean, you got comparison operators. Sorry, I'm writing in place of uh, code cell. It should be written in the text cell. So you convert it Excel and you reflect it over here. What are the comparison operators? Suppose if I say it is like a greater than, less than or equal to, so these all are termed as the comparison operators. Suppose if I say number is equal to 10, and if I say print 10 is equal to 10, or 10 is less than, a number is less than or greater than 5, so you can get answer false or true because this is false. 10 is not less than 10 because number is equal to, this number is exactly equal to 10. Suppose if I say equal to 10, so this would give you a true. But if I say this 10 is an integer, so this would be false. The reason being this 10 is no more integer. It's a string. You have given in the inverted comma. So this number would equal to 10. This 10 is it's an integer. And here you have defined a string. A string cannot equal to an integer. Fine. So it will be false. Similarly, you can write greater than or equal to term is always possible. I mean, you may say it's not equal to 10 by an exclamatory sign. 10 is equal to not 10, it would be false. This is not equal to, number not equal to 10. So it is false. 10 is exactly equal to 10. So we can, again, we can write less than or equal to or greater than or equal to 10. It would be true because it is equal to, it is less than or equal to 10. So 10 is equal to 10. We can say if we skip this equal to sign, it will be false. Similarly, you can say if it is less than or equal to, like this one, again it will be true because it is equal to 10. So this all is, you got operators which is called Boolean operators. You can, comparison operators you can use to, in if and else statements. Generally, we use for this purpose. Then third operators, they are called if I go through text, the third operators, we call them as logical operators. You can have a logical operators in Python. Logical operators. What are those logical operators? These logical operators are basically, it gives you the, it is and or not. They are called logical operators. And means if you have and, it would be true if both operands are true. If you are using or, it would be true if either of the operands is true. If you are using not, then if it would be true if the operand is false. So these three operands we are using in Python. Suppose, let me give you an example. Suppose if I say age is equal to 37 and GPA is equal to 3.8. Fine. Then I would say result is equal to age and it is greater than or equal to 18 for sake of argument. And is a dedicated command. So and is a logical operator. Okay. So it turns into the blue. Whenever if you wrongly type it, it will be in the black. So and if it's a turn into the blue, it's not a word, but it is a logical operator. And then GPA is greater than 3.6. What do you say? Is it a true or false? Let's find out. Okay, because I need to see the print command, print the result. Fine. So is it true? Age is greater than or equal to 18 satisfies the condition number 1, and GPA is greater than 3.6 satisfy the condition number 2. If I say if it is 3.9, so this becomes false. The age GPA is 3.8, which is less than 3.9. If I run this out, the answer would be false. If any end uses any both statement should be true if the answer is true. If you want to get the answer is true. Or if you are using or gives you any of those statement if they are true, so the answer is true. If any of the one of the statement, both of the statement are false, it will be false. Or both of the statements are true, it will be true. If you have heard of the AND gate and AND gate and OR gate, it exactly goes with the same logic. Fine. You can use these logical operators, and generally we use these logical operators in the certain if and else statement while we are making some decisions. So let's come to the if and else statement. Again, I may use some other notebook. So what you need to do, open notebook. If you want to open a notebook, so simply what you need to do, you go here and go to the file and in new notebook in Drive. So you would get a new notebook. It means that if you want to save it, you can save it with any name. There's an option for later use. You can use anyway. So suppose your unit number 4 is about if else statements. Like any other programming language, Python do contain if and else statement. What happens here? If and else statement is basically if you write if and then we have a certain test condition. Certain test condition, and then we need certain indentation, and then you write a statement. And this is a comment. You write a statement. If that statement is true, I mean if condition is true, then this statement will execute. If this condition is not true, what would happen? You may get another condition which is called else, and this else would be executed. This statement, whatever you write here, whether logical statement, whether a print statement, whether anything, that will be executed. So what it exactly holds, what it exactly tells you, that if a statement, if an else statement is a logical statement, I mean logical operation where if you write if, and this is the syntax basically, if you need to write if, and then a test state condition, and followed by this column, followed by a column. This column is important. If you do not give the column, it will give you error. And then there is indentation. This is very important. Whenever you enter it in the coding stuff, so it will give you indentation directly by itself. You don't need to indent it if you are giving this, this column. And then if this statement, if this condition is true, the statement will execute. If it is not true, so it will go to the else, and whatever the statement here, it will be executed. Okay, simply let's write it down. Suppose, let me give you an example. There is a student, and to pass a subject, that the student requires 50 or more marks. 50 or more marks. If he scores 50 or more, you need to print you have passed the exam. And if he has got less than 50 marks, your program should display that you are failed. Okay, let me repeat it again. We are going to have a program. Suppose we are going to have an example. So we are going to have create a program where a student has to score 50 or more to pass, and then it will be when it acquires a pass. So the statement should be you have passed the exam, and if it is less than 50 marks, and the statement should be you have failed the exam. Okay, so let's write it out. Suppose if I need to define the score first, because based on the score this statement is going to print, I would say enter your marks. I would ask them to enter your marks. Suppose enter your score, and this fine. So now this score, whatever we score, whatever is the score, this score would be in, you need to give as an input. You need to offer the user to give input. You write input, okay, but that input would be in the string form, not in the numerical form. You cannot multiply, divide, and add and subtract. Integers cannot. I mean uh, this string cannot be divided and multiplied. Fine. So what we need to do, we need to convert this string into the integer by using int method. Now what this statement is, tells you, score is a variable. That score we are asking the user to enter your score by using the input command. But that input command would, whatever you type, that would be a string in the output. And a string cannot be multiplied, divided, and other things. What we need to do, we need to convert that string into integer by using int command. Whatever we type here, that input would be converted directly into the integer by using this command. Fine. So now we are writing a conditional statement. We say if the score is equal to, if it is greater than or equal to 50, if it is greater than or equal to 50, and then colon, and when you enter, you directly find there's an indentation. This is automatically, once you are done with this one, suppose you are not given this colon and enter it, you doesn't get any indentation. That there is something wrong. So whenever you give a colon, this is a true statement or proper statement of this, if statement. So you may write print string you have passed the exam. Fine. And secondly, you may give another statement which you say print. Congratulations might be. Congratulations. Fine. These both will be, executed. If this statement is true, else this will not be, executed. So, and second thing, if I print, whenever you write in the indentation form, this is associated with this statement. If I'm writing this print, this is called a local variable. If I'm removing this statement, no matter if this statement is true or not, this statement which is print congratulations will be executed at all conditions, because this is no more a part of this statement. Okay, so if you want to make it as a part of a statement, so you need to give indentation. So now, if this is true, these both statements will be printed. Okay. So again, if I'm running this program for sake of argument, let's see what happens. It will ask me the score first. Okay, here it is. Suppose I would say you got a 50. Look at them. These two statements are printed. You have passed the exam. Congratulations. Fine. What about if I'm making it 40? 40 is does not satisfy this criteria. It's not greater than or equal to 50. It is 40 now, less than. Whenever you run this, when you enter this, you doesn't got any sort of command at the output. Why? Because this is if statement is not true. So those two statements will not execute. We do not have any other statement to execute after the congratulations statement. Okay. So what we need to do, we write and other suppose if statement. What we write, suppose if I say if score is less than 50, fine, then okay, then you make a declaration, then print your health and better luck next time for sake of fun. Fine. So now if I run this, I may write 40 now. In the 40, if I when I enter, the first statement is not true because the marks are less than 50. And what you get at the output, you get this statement. 40, you have failed the exam, better luck next time. Because this statement is not true, the print you have passed examination and print congratulations will not get executed. And if this, it will come onto the second if this statement is true and it will be printed. But generally, what we need to do, we generally write else statement instead of this one. Okay? We write else statement. If it is not anything, I mean, it is uh, less than 50. If it is less than 50, because greater than or equal to 50 is passed. So remaining is only less than 50. So else it's quite obvious that it will be fell. So we write print, you have failed the exam and better luck next time. So if you run it again, now if I write the 40, the same thing would happen. This execution, because first statement is not true. If it is not true, then for sure this statement is going to execute. That's it. If this is true, if it's true, so else would not be executed at all. Only first statement will be executed. So this is how it works. Now, what if you are entering a certain, suppose if I run this and if I say 101, if I 101, 101 out of 100 you are getting 101 marks. It's a logical thing. But this program will tell you, okay, you have passed examination. Okay. Or if I say, suppose play and then I say -1, again, it will not ask me that -1 is not possible and it's an invalid number. So what we need to do, we say another statement, which means we use if. If we have multiple, options, if we have multiple statements, so you can use this elif. If a score is equal to is less than 0, fine, you may put another statement and it's an invalid score. Okay. Or you may write another elif statement, if statement score is greater than 100, it's an invalid statement. So what you need to write, you need to say print invalid score. So now you have a sort of complete form. Suppose if I say -1 and then it will say invalid score. Again, if I run this one and I say 101, again it will execute. Okay, 101 says you have, okay, because the first statement is executed is greater than 50. So we may limit this with certain what is the thing here? For interview score, you have 101, so you have passed exam. Congratulations. Why it is executed? Because first if a statement is quite true. So else statement would not be executed over here. So that would give us a problem. Okay. So you may write it is equal to 150 and then it would give you some. Okay. Let's sort it out. Let's sort it out. Two is less than or equal to. Suppose if I say 101. Okay, I've seen this. Uh, we need to debug this. There's something. Anyone from the audience can help me out. How to fix this problem? Anyone from the audience, if you can help me out with this one. I'm a bit confused here. Anyway, I will share all the notebooks and then I will certainly sort it out and let you know inshallah. Okay. Now come with the next problem. Suppose you need to create a program to check whether a number is positive or negative or zero. Okay, create a program to check whether a number is positive, negative or zero. So you will be, given a number, and then if it is greater than zero, it will be print the number is positive. If it is less than zero, it will number is negative. Or if it is zero, so it will say the number is zero. Suppose I need to define the number. So this number is equal to, I would say input, and then I would ask the user to enter the number. Enter the number. Right? If you see here, this input would be you will enter a certain number, and then we write certain statement. We say the number is greater than zero. If the number is greater than zero, and the number is positive. Okay. And if the number is less than zero, so print the number is negative. And else, if it is not positive, if it is not negative, then obviously it is zero. Sure. Okay. When you run this program, certainly you would get a certain error, and that error is due to this reason, because this whatever the input you are taking, that would be a string, isn't it? That would be a string because you are giving the input in the inverted comma and it's a string, a number of characters. So what you need to do, you need to convert that into the float or integer, whatever. In both you can do this. Okay, so this would be now whatever the number you give, it will ask the user to input, and then you give any number, then that number would be converted into float. That float is basically, then it would be, if it is greater than zero, this condition would execute. If it is less than zero, this would be printed, the number is negative. Else, if there is, you got none of them, so obviously if it is not positive, if it is not negative, certainly it would be zero. So let me execute this one. Suppose if I say 10, it will plus the number is positive. Okay. If I say minus 10, so this would be the number is negative. And thirdly, if it is zero, because it will not execute else if statement is not true, if is not true, so certainly else statement will be executed whatever the condition. The number is zero. So this is how it works. Then you have the for and while loop, and because the time is running short, if you ask me, then I may use the my notebooks to directly go to the problem rather than writing it up. So it will save the time. So if I say open, these are the lessons what I have created for the the workshop. Suppose we go for the for loop. Okay, and the new tab. So what for loop tells you? For loop is basically it's a sequence. It iterate over a sequence. And what is sequence? A sequence is a collection of items in an order. Suppose the word Python is a sequence of 7 characters. Python. So these all are characters basically. So here if you see there we are starting with the number, suppose for an item in the sequence statement. This is basically a commit because this will never be executed. You know that because it is in the commas, 3 commas, so it will not be executed. So then there is the text Python. What we need to do, we use a for loop to know what are the characters in the Python. So we write text is equal to Python in that Python for character in text. This is the text character. You may write anything here, character or A, B, C, whatever. So you need to print the same. So what for loop will do, it will take each and every character of this string. It will take P and then print. It will take Y and it prints. P, it will print it up till N. So when you run this up, it will be, it will give you the Python as a whole. Right? So this is the for loop. For loop iterates in whatever the list or the sequence you give, and it will execute throughout this statement. Similarly, this is called a list. In this bracket, this square brackets, if you are writing anything inside the square bracket with the inverted commas, so this is called a list, one of the compound data types. Okay, so languages is a variable. We are storing this list inside the languages variable. English, French, and German. So for language in languages, fine, because language is a variable, we are going to see what are the languages in the language. We will give the print languages. So when you run this up, so again, what for loop will do, it will go to the variable language. It will take each one of them, this language. English, it will type print English with this command. Then it will go again here until all those list elements are completed. Okay. Secondly, it will go the second. It will press the second French. It will be French. Third, it will type the French. I mean German. So this is one of the examples given here. There is a function called range. A range function. A range function is very important in Python. So for suppose we say for count, if you see this this program, this code for count in the range 1 to 6. Range is a built-in function in Python. Okay, so it will say print count. So it will be again go through the range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will include the first argument and will include the last argument. If you say 7, so it will print up till 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. Similarly, use the loop to create a table from 1 to 10. I mean, if you have something, you want to create the table, or 10 to the 1 is more 10, and then so on. Suppose you got a number, and then enter an integer. You are asked to enter integer from the user by using input command. You convert that integer in, a string, and you ask for a string, any number, from the user by using input command. And then you are using int integer command to convert that string into integer. Okay. So what we do now, we use a for loop so that it count in the range 1 to 11. So it includes the 1 and the last number would be 10. It does not include 11. Okay. So for all those numbers from 1 to 10, what it will do, it will create a variable named product. Product, what is product? It's a multiplication of number, whatever you have entered in the first place, and count. Count is this variable. from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fine. At the end, after each iteration, it will print number, comma, x. Number is a variable. Fine. Number, whatever the variable over here, it will print here. Its value would be printed. X is the string because it's in the inverted comma. It will be printed as it is, x. Then count is a variable. It will be given certain number. Depends upon the which iteration you are working. It will be from 1 to 10. And then equal is a thing again. It will be printed as it is. Then a product. Print option, you can print a number of variables and strings by using a comma in between. You do use a comma in between. Okay. What it will tell you when you run it, what happens? Suppose if I said 10, so it will be 10, number is 10, then x is typed here, this multiplication sign, and then count is 1 in the first iteration, and equal to is printed as it is, and then product is 1 into 10, so it would be 10. Fine, because we have entered the count is a number which is basically an integer. And similarly, it will go for 1 to 10 until it reaches to the 10, and then for loop will be, it will be closed. Okay. Now, if I only need the final result, so what I would do the print out of the for statement. Suppose if I said 10, and only I need the last statement, it would be like 10 into 10, it will be 100. If you because this print, whatever the final number, when you will get out of the for loop, this print will be executed, only the last number. Okay, number and count. At two variables, whatever the last number, which is 10, obviously, this number would be 10, this count would be 10, both will be printed, you get 100. But if this is a part of for loop, so each iteration you got a print of command. Print 1 multiplied by 10, print 2 multiplied by 10, because it's iteratable. It will continuously, in each iteration, it will be, suppose if I say 20, it will be complete 20, you got a table for the 20. So this is how you use this for loop. So suppose there's an exercise, you are required to create a program to find the sum of numbers from 1 to 100. It is like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up till 100. What is the total number? So in the very simple method is this one. Total sum, you create a variable total sum, and you use the sum. It's a built-in command which adds the number. Range between 1 to 100. Range between 1 to 100 simply means it is from 1 range from 1 to 101. It will be 1 till 100. Fine. So it will be like 1, then it will be sum plus 2, sum plus 3, and so on. So it would be 5051. It will add all the numbers from 0 to 100. When you add all those numbers, it will be 5051, 5050. An alternate way to do the same using for loop, you can use this method. Suppose the start of the total sum is 0, you are creating a variable with the name total sum, which you are given the value is equal to 0. You are using for loop now. For number in range 1 to 101, you create a variable total sum. That total sum is equal to this plus minus operator. That is equal to plus minus. When you use this plus minus operator, it's like total. It is exactly equal to total sum is equal to total sum, the same variable, plus the number. Simple. It's exactly equivalent. Both are exactly equivalent. Okay. So we, for the simplicity, for ease of writing, we always use this operator, plus is equal to. So again, for all those numbers from 1 to 100, from 1 to 100, this command will be executed. The total sum would be executed. And then finally, after that, whatever the last number, so we ask for the print option. Print, but do remember this print is out of the for loop. It's a global variable. Whatever here you give, it will print the last variable. If you see this print variable, we have written all the numbers. We have written if command. Okay, if means it's a take one of the printing options. It will directly take the number, whatever the number. So if you write if inverted comma, that simply means total sum of the numbers. Total sum of the numbers will be printed as it is. Total sum of the then the number. If you want to insert a variable inside the print command in the runtime, so use curly braces. Number is a variable. It's not a string anymore. This whole is a string in the red, but this number, because it's in the curly braces, it's a variable. It will directly take the value from this number, and then number from 1 to, okay, then again it's a string. We use a variable number, same, and then is and total sum. Total sum is the this variable. Okay, when you run this up, it will give you exactly the same value 5051. But it will print. Look at that. I mean, the why we have done this all. This is just to it is for the more readability. Like suppose we have what is been printed. Total sum of 100 numbers from 1 to 100 is 5051. How it's possible? How it happened? Total is same, sum is same, printed far of the all strings are printed like the same way, but for the number it is printed 100. Why? It's the last number. 100 is the last number. Okay, and for numbers is printed same, and from 1 to 100 is a number again. Is 5051. It's a total sum. Same. Again, if you want for the each iteration, just put the print in the for loop. For each iteration, it will give you the result. If you see it. So total sum of 43 numbers from 1 to 43, and so on from, if you get from 1, this one. Total sum of one number from 1 is equal to 1. Total sum of two numbers from 1 to 2 is 3, because 1 plus 2 is 3. Similarly, 1 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 is equal to 6. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is equal to 10, and so on. So all the values are printed. All the values will be printed because it does. Print command is inside the for loop. Okay. Similarly, if you come down, so this was it for the for loop, which was lesson number 9. Then we had the while loop. Okay. So what is while loop? While loop will execute until the test condition is false. Just like if you see here, what is the syntax? You write suppose count is equal to 0 while count is less than 5. While count is less than 5, what execute? Print, execute these statements. Print, I'm inside the loop. Print, looping is interesting, and print, this loop is infinite. Until and unless this condition is true, all these will be printed all over again. So if we say count is equal to 0, this statement is always true. So this, when you run this up, it is an indefinite loop. It is an indefinite loop. Okay. Terminated normalization. Okay. When you run this up, so it will run for the a number of times. Why? Because there is no termination criteria. This it will count 0, then come to the while loop. While loop will then see, it will judge this statement. It will see this statement. If it is count is less than 5, so this statement will execute. Again, it will go to the count. From this statement, it will go back to the while loop again. So again, it will check whether this statement is true or not. This statement is quite true. The count is less than 5 because count is a 0 value. So it will run forever. Fine. So until and unless you stop it and your memory gets out of the approach. So what's the solution? How to make this a finite loop? What we do here, if you see, what we do, we provide some mechanism to stop this while loop. What we do, count, we provide count is equal to 0 initially, then we start a while loop and we put a condition. We say count is less than 5. So when this statement is true, so you say print those two statements and then count would be equal to count plus 1. This statement is going to end this while loop after a certain time. How? Because whenever it reaches to the count after printing these two statements, it will be count plus 1. The count is 0, 0 plus 1 is now 1. Now 1 is less than 5. It will execute again. So now when it reaches here, so it is count is equal to 1 now. So 1 plus 1 would become 2. So count is 2 now. 2 is less than 5. Again it will print until it reaches 4. When it reaches 4, so 4 is less than 5. So it would execute the statement. Once this count becomes 5, so this statement is no more true. Count is not equal, is not less than 5. So this statement is not true. So what this program will get out of this while loop and will directly come here, which is this, because this print is not a part of while loop, and finally it will print end. Okay. So this, if you see here, this statement are printed 4 times. I am inside the loop, and the loop is interesting. Number 1, number 2, and number 3, number 4, number 5, up to 5, obviously, because it is if it is a less than 5. So while loop will execute until the condition is true. So let's see what's inside the loop. I mean, if this count is less than or equal to 5. So that would, if you see, uh, this is false, like this. If it is less than or equal to 5, so even what happens here, so count is 0. Now we are only printing the variable count. Count would be initially 0, then it would, when it reaches here, 0 plus 1 becomes 1. So 1 would be executed. Initially it was 0. This count. This count is 0. For that it is printed here. Right? And then it is 0 plus 1, it would become 1. Then 1 plus 1, 2. Again, this statement is not true. This statement is, true, sorry. So it will print it. It will not get to the end. It will come here and go again to the while. Fine? 3, 4 until it reaches to the 5. When it reaches to the 5, this statement is final times 2. When it becomes 6, so this 6 is not less than or equal to 5. So this, the program will get out of the value and then it will come at the end. So print, it will print the end. Fine. It will be like 1, 2, 3, 5 until and until that it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will print all those variables. Similarly, you can draw the table from 1 to 10 by using the same. I will share this notebook. You can do it yourself. And then reversible table is possible from multiplying 10 to 1. I mean 10 times 10 is here. If you see 10 times 1 is 10. And here we are starting from the top. I mean 10 times 10 is 100 and then going bottom to 1, going to the bottom to the 1. So this was for while loop. Actually, while loop, for loop, these if-else statement, they are all same in all languages. Okay, they are all same in all languages. But there is a difference of syntax. Python gives you an easy syntax with indenting. It is indenting. This indenting is very important. It will let you know that, okay, you are inside the while loop. It's increase the readability of the program. Once, suppose if I say here, if I'm not giving this colon, so if you see, this is not a part of while loop anymore. But whenever you give a proper sentence and then you enter, so if you see, you will get some indentation. So this will provide, even readability that this is whole is a part of while loop. But if I'm putting this out of the while loop, so this will be executed for the last time only. Suppose if I say 10, so it would be 10. Right? It will print all the values. Okay, count. it becomes an infinite loop again, because this statement is true for all the time. This statement was the one which was restricting it to be an infinite loop. Okay, so finally we are reaching to functions. Function is, again, it's not a new concept in this Python. It's function is there in every language. But again, this Python gives you an easy way to define a function. What is the syntax in the function? What is function, by the way? Function is, group of statements or group of instructions that are reusable. You can reuse it anytime. You don't need to write again and again. There is a term, or there is a, thing you need to use it again and again, for suppose greeting the guest. So you don't need to greet the guest again and again for writing again for them, or you need a certain uh, chunk of code which you want to use again and again in the program. So you simply write a function of it, and then you only call the function, and those all statement will be executed. For an example, suppose if we are defining a function here, and in the Python you have a keyword called def, def. Def, then greet is the name of the function, and then arguments. If it is here, you don't have any argument. If you have argument, you need to give provided here. In the next example, we are seeing what is the argument actually. So, and finally, you got the colon. So this is the syntax for the writing a function in the Python. Okay, that's name of the function and then arguments. Suppose we have two statement, we are going to say hello and how do you do. For sake of argument, we have two statements, and we want to execute again and again for all the users. So what we say, we simply define the greet function, and whenever you call the greet function, these two statements are executed. You only need to write greet and then brackets. That's it. You don't need to write print hello or print how do you do all the time. So whatever you do, when you run this one, so it will be like uh, because whenever you call this greet, it will print hello and how do you do. There may be a million instructions, there are only two, but all those million instructions would be executed with the simple word greet. That's the name of the function. Similarly, how to give the arguments? For argument, you need to give the def, greet, and there is a name. Name is the argument now. Okay. Now what you do, you print hello name. Hello is a string, would be printed as it is. Name is a variable, will be printed or depends upon the user or whatever the name you're giving. So here, and again, how do you do? It's a string, it's a complete string. So greet now Ahmed. This name argument is now given the name Ahmed, or given the variable Ahmed. Fine. This name is replaced by Ahmed. Whenever you greet or write the name, so these both will be executed. So when you say suppose Ahmed, when I call this function greet, and then I enter, it will be say hello. This two statement would be printed. Hello, the name is Ahmed, and then how do you do? It's a complete string. String is always printed as it is. Similarly, you can have multiple arguments of a function. Suppose def is the keyword, add a number. We are going to add the numbers. This is the name of the function, and numbers are n1 and n2. n1 and n2, these are called as arguments of the function. Okay. So what is inside the function? This function, what it do? It creates a variable result, and it adds two variable n1 and n2. So what we do, print, we give a command print, and then this print will write a string, the sum is, and it will get the variable from the above statement, which is the result variable. So again, if you say suppose now you come out of the string, or you come out of the this function, so we are defining those numbers. So number 1 is 5.4, number 2 is 6.7, for any number. Okay. So what we do here, suppose if we say add number 1, add numbers, number 1, comma number 2. Simply, whenever you call this Add numbers, it's a function. Add numbers, it will directly go here. It will take what this function is all about. So it is basically addition of two numbers n1 and n2. So number one and number two, n1 would be given to the number one, n2 would be given to the number two. So these n1 plus n2 would give you the variable result, and that result is going to be printed in by using the print command. The sum is the result, whatever you get it, and this is all frozen. There's a term called return. Again, the same concept is there in every language. Suppose if you do not want to execute a second statement, okay, you want to execute only one statement inside a greet function or any number of statements. So you use the word keyword return. So this return statement is encountered immediately after the function for the to terminate and control the program. Control of the program goes back to the place where the function is called. So suppose if I say greet and the same function, if I say greet Ahmed, so it will print this hello with the name hello Ahmed, and then return. Return means it will again go back to the function. Right? This will not be executed. This statement will not be executed because we have given a return statement over there. Similarly, functions can be of the two types. By the way, functions can be built-in functions in the Python. Just like you have the float, you have the print, print. Print is a function which prints whatever inside this bracket. Int is a function. It represents the integer. It will convert the float and string into the integer. Okay, you don't need to code again and again for converting floats and these strings into the integer. You cannot write 10 lines again and again or 20 lines again and again. So this would be integer. Suppose input is also a built-in function. So these are also functions. But if you do not, if you require any other function other than the one which are present in the Python, you can define your own by using this method, and then you can use them for your purpose wherever you want in the program. Okay, then I would go to the very important topic. I would say it's the list and couples. Hope I'm not running short of organize this. Can I conclude in 15 minutes or 10 minutes?
Yes, Doctor, sure. Yeah, you can take the time.
Okay, because I'm running short of time. I will just skim through this important topic. So, the data types are very important in Python. Till now, what we have done, what we have discussed some simple data types like integer, which is equal to number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Like float, any decimal points, 5.5, 5.10, whatever. And then we have discussed the third type is string is a data type. String is a data type. So these are very simple type of data. There is also a term called compound data types. Compound data types, which includes the list, which includes tuples, which includes dictionaries, which includes sets. So this starting with the list, there is you can have a number of those simple data types in a single list. Okay, so this list may contain a different items altogether. Suppose here is an example. You've got a number. Now this number is not a one number. It's a complete list of numbers. So how to define a list? It's basically you give the large bracket, capital bracket, a square bracket. In between the brackets, you got four variables. Four digits separated by a comma. These are four integers: integer number 1, integer number 2, integer number 3, integer number 4. If you give a print command to this list, it will completely print the list. If you see in the bottom, I can highlight it: 1, 5, 6, 4. Okay, there may be a mixed list. It's not necessary you got all the integers or you got all the floats, you got all the strings. It may be a mixed list. Suppose this 2.5 is a float. Hello is a string. -5 is an integer. 2.5 is a float. This is a mixed list. It's also possible. Whenever you print it, so this list will be printed as well. So there may be empty list. Empty list contains suppose only the square bracket. So when you print this list, and you will get a this square bracket in the in the result. So there is a function called len, len. Len tells you what is the exact amount of elements present in the list. So this list contains four only. So if you have a number of lists, suppose the you know length of the element, so you may use this len function to count how much number of the elements present in the list. So this len function is used for that purpose. How to access the list elements? I mean, this list we are only using four elements, but there is a possibility that there may be thousands of elements in a list. It's always possible. So you cannot access, you cannot watch or see or physically see where is that particular word you are finding for. So what we say, we have the called list methods. There are list methods. So suppose we have a language, we have a list called languages. It contains four languages: Python, JavaScript, C++, and Kotlin. Right? So if I print the languages, so it will all get printed at the bottom. So if I only want the element number 3 in the list, element number 3. So it would, what I would write print bracket languages, and in the square bracket I would write 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. It should start from the 0. 0 is the Python, 1 is the JavaScript, 2 is the C++, and 3 is the Kotlin. So a Kotlin will be printed. Fine. There may be you may slice a list. Suppose if you want from language, you have the same script and you want to print only 0 to 3. You can write it like this way: 0, then colon, then 3. So to type 0, 1, 2. Okay, 3 is not included, by the way. The last number in the slicing is not included. It will type Python, it will type the 0, JavaScript at the 1, and C++ at the 2. Kotlin will not be printed because Kotlin is the number 3, and this is excluded while slicing if you use this method. There is a method in the language is colon 3. So this would print all the list from 0 to 3. If no number is given, it's like a 0. If nothing is given, it's a 0. Again, if nothing is given, it's a maximum number, whatever is in the list. It would start from 1 and will end at the last one. So it's like a tracing the elements in the list. If you have a complicated list containing more than 1,000 elements, so you can trace through or you can find the elements. So there are other methods. You can go through all the methods to, these are readily available in the Python books and Google. You can type them, simply type list methods, so it will all give you the same. Okay, so concluding, list is simply a compound data type in Python which contains the any number of elements separated by a comma. So you can use list in a number of assignments, in number of projects. So these are important. Secondly, there are second compound element is tuples or tuples, whatever you call it. So these tuples are different from the list in a sense that tuples are immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the tuple. List, you can change any of the words. Suppose this command, let me tell you. Okay. I mean, simply here, if you see here, so if this is basically the tuple. How to know it's a tuple or list is because if you see the syntax, the tuple is always given in the small brackets. This one, fine. While the list is always given in the square brackets. Fine. So the only difference only difference between the list and tuple. All methods are same. You can slicing, you can trace the elements, you can print any number of elements, all same with the same methods. Oh, except one thing: tuples are immutable. They cannot be changed. You cannot replace the elements in a tuple. Suppose if I say language zero is equal to Java, language zero is equal to Java. That means replace the language zero with a Java. I mean, replace the element Python zero, because zero is the Python starting from the zero, one, two, three. So Python is in the zero position. So the language is variable in the zero position, whatever the element is there. So you replace that equated to Java. This operation is not possible in Java. You cannot replace, you cannot change anything inside the tuple. You cannot, because once you are sure, why tuples are used, because once you are sure the data remains same all the time, it is not mutable, so you generally use tuples. But wherever you see that you are going to change the
भाई
data
पूछो ना
after a certain
किसी
time
ने
or in
चेंज
the
किया
mid of the
सेशन के
program,
एंड
you may use the list. So this is one of the only difference. This operation is not possible in tuples, while this operation is possible. I mean, replacement is possible in the list. That's the only one of the. I mean, maybe the only difference I would believe. I think last only data type is the dictionary. If I find it one dictionary, and then we will conclude. Yeah, yes. So again, dictionary is a special type of special data type. It's a compound data type, unlike the string, or unlike the numeric data type like float and um, the integer. So dictionary is also, it's also a compound data type. What is dictionary? Dictionary gives you the key value pair. Dictionary is contains a key and a value. Okay, it is in the curly braces. You need to give a curly braces for making a dictionary. The syntax, if you say person one, this starting in the curly braces, inverted comma name with a string, and this name contains Ahmad. This is one key value pair. Name is key, Ahmad is value. Okay, age is key, 21 is value. So they are separated by a comma. So this is one key value pair. This is the second key value pair. So this is stored in the curly braces. Suppose if you print the person one, and this would give you the uh, name Ahmed and age 24. Why we use dictionaries? It is to store the data and to trace them up. It's quite easy in the dictionaries. There is an example. Suppose if you say person one, name Ahmed and age 21, same. If you want to know the person name, so simply you write person one and name, you write the key. So in the output you would get the value, because name is a key for Ahmed. The value is Ahmed and name is a key. So Ahmed will be printed. Person one, age. Age is a key and the value is 21. So if you want to know what is the age of person one, you write this syntax: print and the person one and bracket only. You give the value for the key. You have already the data. You have already stored the data for thousands of people, and then you simply name and age, write the name and age. It will print your value, print the values of the same person. Okay. But if you have, suppose if you want to print the person in hobbies, hobbies is not a key. If you see person one, hobby is not mentioned. When you do this, it will give you an error that hobby is not included in that dictionary. Fine. So and if you want to include hobby is a for that person, if you want to know whether the hobbies is there in the dictionary or not, because there are maybe millions of words inside and millions of key, name key value pair. So how would you know that this variable is there or not, or the key is there or not? So you simply write print person1 dot get is a method. Then you write hobbies, and then if you print, so it will give you none. Now, if there is some, if it would have been there, it will give you the answer. And if it is not present, because hobbies is not present in the person one attributes, so hobbies it would say none. Okay. So similarly, you go for the arguments. We can pass argument to the key. Suppose print person one. If hobbies is not present, you can get the hobbies in by using this method. Print one dot get, then bracket hobbies. This becomes a key. Hobbies it becomes a key, and then this would become its value. Reading and fishing. Now, when you write, you have amend this dictionary. Now, the dictionary is amended by including hobby. When you write hobby, so it would be reading and fishing. It would give you reading and fishing. But simply including this dictionary, dictionary allows you to store the data. Store the data or store the information of, suppose in a hospital, you have a number of patients. So how to recognize a certain patient in his history? So you may use a dictionary. You may use a dictionary, its name, age, what is the previous record of his health. So all variables are saved. So what you do, you simply write health, it will tell you all this, story. If you simply write when you were previously visited, it will simply give you the date. I mean, it's all the keys and values you can, a number of, I mean, thousands of patients and, thousands of those variables you can store, and you can just, uh, trace it down at any time you want. Or in any university, you want to have your student, you want to know, their biodata, their grades, you can make a dictionary. Okay, you can make a dictionary. So in the semester one, what is the score, and what is the score for this particular subject. So you just type the name of the subject and don't need to search it out manually. So it will directly give you the value for that. So again, I mean, this is info. Finally, if you see the slides I will share, the one of the most important aspects of Python is its rich libraries. So this is, the Python is majority of the times you would go for the data science, data, exploration and the machine learning. So there are a number of libraries. Few of them are very important, just like scikit-learn. So it's one of the very important tools. Uh, you know, you get the and okay. So scikit-learn is one of the important tools. It is for used for the comprehensive set of tools for classification, regression and clustering. So it's simply the major advantage of Python is you do not need to install all those libraries. You just import them. Okay. Suppose if I want to get this library, what I would write from sklearn export data sets. Simple. Or import sklearn. Simple. So it will give you all the options available in that particular library. You do not need install again and again, yeah, or it's a complicated task. The second library, pandas, is one of the most important libraries for the data science. So it gives you the data structures, data frames, series, and data handling efficiently, and filtering of the data and analysis of the data from this particular library. How to import this library? Simply write in command import pandas is pd. Simple. So whenever you write pd, so pd is for the pandas, and from inside the pandas you can use any thing for your analysis, data analysis. There are a number of things. There is a Seaborn, one of the very important tools or libraries in for the plotting purpose. Okay, you can Seaborn is a statistical data visualization library, just like similarly Matplotlib, one of the most important libraries in for the plotting and graphs. Matplotlib. and then you have the TensorFlow, you have the SciPy, and you have the NumPy. So these SciPy and NumPy both are the numerical computing libraries in the Python. I think that's it from my side. I would acknowledge one of the my friends. He again there is a choice. I mean, there is a number of lecture series available for the Python in YouTube. Okay, there are a number of lecture series available, and they are very good at that. So learning Python is not a difficult task nowadays. Okay, you got a number of those you know things available online. So one of them is binary solutions. I do acknowledge Mr. Arbab Alam. He helped me a lot for this workshop, especially. He shared his handouts. So, and I would strongly recommend you to go through that YouTube channel. And he's a one. He's a guy graduate from UTM. He's a UTM alumnus. So you can refer to his channel and on the YouTube. At binary solutions you would find, and you can learn the Python from there as well. One of the options again, and you can. Second, I would recommend again. Program is this guy is doing great. He's from the Nepal. So choice is all yours, and thank you all for this for listening, and thank you organizers for having me on this workshop.
Thank you, Doctor. Before we conclude, there is a Q&A session for our participants. So we will take relevant 5 questions for our doctor to answer it in a short answer. So I would request our participants to quickly just drop in questions. I will start reading it. Doctor, the first question. The first question is from. First question is from Samra Nasir. She asked that will there be any session on intermediate or advanced Python workshop for machine learning?
Sure, I'll be available. I'll be available if you invite me for the libraries to explore the libraries and machine learning. I will be available for that. So, my core research area is optimization and classification using those machine learning algorithms. I will be available there. Sure.
That's wonderful. Second questions from Kanvi. She or he asks, how does Spider and Google Colab differ?
I don't know exactly the answer of this question. Basically, you have any code editor. There are, I believe, a number of code editors. I cannot count online in the one you are downloading from the Anaconda. So there maybe you may be having the Jupyter, you may be having Atom, any other notebook. So basically, Google Colab and Jupyter, I would strongly recommend for the PyCharm is also one of the good one. But I always recommend for the Jupyter and the Google Colab. If you have offline source, you go for the Jupyter, and if you have online, you go for the Google Colab. The reason being because they both work in the same way. Their method is all same. But for all editors, you have the same syntax. There is no difference. But it gives you certain options. Like in the Google Colab and the Jupyter, you have the chunks. You can divide the code in chunks, and then you can execute that chunks individually. So if you want to debug, if there is an error in the program, so you can directly go to that particular block and run that block and then fix the code there. And it gives you the option rather than writing a complete code. Secondly, the readability. The Python, the major thing you need to know is the readability. Your code should be readable. It should be easy for the reading. That's what I can say.
Okay. The third question is from Shahir Gujar. He said, what's basically the difference between the variables number 1 and number 2 and the parameters num1 and num2 from the functions topic that you showed?
Okay, functions. I cannot. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's open. Uh, num1 and num2. Hold on a second. Where's that? Uh, yeah, here. N1 and N2. Yeah. This is what you mean?
Yes, I think.
Okay, okay. If you see here, N1 and N2, these are simply arguments. We call them as arguments. These arguments belongs to the function called add numbers. We have defined the function def. While number one and number two, these are variables. These are variables we have defined outside the definition